Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings changed the game of the MCU in ways that'll knock you sideways, like Abomination vs. Wong. Spoiler warning before we continue, because I'm gonna break down this movie's finale and post-credit scenes. Go watch this movie, and I'll be here to help you unpack what the F just happened. Okay, Shang-Chi has two post-credit scenes, but first a quick recap. Shang-Chi, after 10 years of being separated from his crime lord father, Wenwu, is dragged back into the Ten Rings compound alongside his sister Xiaoling. Wenwu uses his children to find the hidden kingdom of Ta Lo, guided by what he thinks is the voice of his deceased wife, Zhang Li, to rescue her soul from a sealed cave. But Wenwu is actually being manipulated by an otherworldly soul sucker beast, who in the past had been fended off by a dragon known as the Great Protector. Wenwu unwittingly opens the seal to unleash the mega soul sucker into the realm, but Shang-Chi reclaims the rings from his father, and with the help of the Great Protector, the warriors of Ta Lo, combined with those of the Ten Rings, and Katie's archery, Shang-Chi slays the monster. And all this is recap to Shang-Chi and Katie's skeptical friends over drinks, but then, my favorite party crashing visual effect in the MCU, a portal opens, and in comes Wong, whom we saw earlier facing Abomination in a friendly cage fight in Macau. Now it isn't clear, but Abomination might be getting weekend passes after he was detained following his battle with Hulk in Harlem, or maybe Abomination is Wong's sparring partner, whom he doesn't mention to Bruce Banner, because the first rule of Wong's Fight Club is you don't talk about hanging out with your friend's enemy. Anyway, Wong brings Shang-Chi and Katie to the Sanctum Sanctorum since they have a lot to talk about, and that brings us to our first of two post-credit scenes. Wong uses his magic to analyze the Ten Rings alongside Shang-Chi and Katie while on a conference call with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and Bruce Banner. They're on one of those hollow projection group chats, similar to the way the Avengers checked in with each other in Endgame. Banner looks noticeably older, and he's back in human form from his seemingly permanent Smart Hulk form from Endgame, but his arm remains in a sling, so the injury he sustained from snapping the Stark Gauntlet, which left him in a sling in Endgame's final minutes, is still affecting him physically. Remember, the Ancient One was able to push Banner's human soul out of his Hulk body, so maybe Banner's return to human form was some kind of magic offered by the sorcerers Wong and Doctor Strange, something we could learn more about in She-Hulk, along with, by the way, whatever Wong's friendship with Abomination is all about, or maybe something we could learn more about in Spider-Man No Way Home, since Doctor Strange seems in a weird mood to grant his Avenger buddies random favors. Danvers confirms that the tech isn't Chitauri or any alien tech she has seen, Chitauri of course being the warriors of Thanos' army led by Loki in the first Avengers movie, tech that was later repurposed by Vulture's crew in Spider-Man Homecoming. Banner says the rings aren't made of vibranium, the metal of all of Black Panther's tech and what Captain America's shield is made out of, and that these rings are way older than 1,000 years old. Now, we're not too far from winter weather, and if there's leaves on the ground, there should be Vessies on your feet. Thanks to Vessi for sponsoring this video. Vessies are the perfect everyday shoe. Vessies are sustainably made knit sneakers that are 100% waterproof, whether you need to get through snow or puddles or rivers of pumpkin spice lattes. These shoes are keeping your socks dry and keeping you looking good. They're made with this Dymatex material that keeps your feet warm in cold weather, cool in warm weather. It's super easy to clean with just a rinse of water. Oh, plunk. My shoes got all wet, but hey, wouldn't you know it? Thanks to these Vessi knit sneakers, my little piggies are bone dry. Thanks, Vessi. They're stretchy, they fit your foot like a sock, and whatever the season, these are truly an everyday shoe. Vessies are my go-to shoes by my door. Check them out in the link below for your own pair of Vessi shoes. Now, in the comics, the Ten Rings are ancient alien McLuhan tech that crashed to Earth in a spacecraft, and it was from this wreckage that the Mandarin Zhengzhou, the character Wenwu is based on, stole them. But in the film, it said that Wenwu might have found these rings in a crater or a tomb, but it is not confirmed. In the comics, each ring contains the soul of a cosmic warrior, and each has different abilities. Abilities that are not shown in the film. All 10 rings seem to give off the same powers of strength enhancement and being slung as powerful projectiles. But these more mystical qualities are explored here because Wong zooms in to show a pulsing beacon summoning something from afar, something threatening to change the MCU as we know it.
There's no going back.
So the question now is, who or what are these 10 rings summoning? If the MCU maintains their McLuhan origins, that threat could be from another planet or from another galaxy. And if we're looking for ancient beings from the stars, Galactus could be on his way in the MCU. You could also say the Celestials are coming, because we know they're they're being summoned back to Earth for some emergence in Eternals, but I suspect that that movie might take place in the 7 days after Endgame, which might set it before Shang-Chi, especially since that movie's release date was supposed to be before Shang-Chi originally, but I cannot give firm answers on the timeline yet. But I will say, based on the way this movie explored Ta Lo, its magic, and its relationship to other realms, I think this threat is more likely to come from another dimension. In the comics, Ta Lo is one of the God realms, a small pocket dimension adjacent to Earth. In the film, it's also the Nexus gateway to an additional realm of the Soul Suckers, with Lovecraftian design elements, notably Cthulhu or Nyarlathotep, who telepathically invades mortals' minds, much like this beast does to Wenwu. You could see it similar to how Thor said in Avengers that Fury's work with the Tesseract signaled to all the realms that Earth is ready for a higher form of war. And this beacon could be summoning whatever interdimensional threat that Doctor Strange and Wong will face in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We've speculated Shuma Gorath, or one of the Elder Gods. The fact that the same interdimensional tentacle monster just made a second appearance in this week's episode of What If after the pilot makes a pretty strong case that one of these many-angled ones could be the threat on the horizon, along with perhaps other devilish mystic entities we saw hints of in episode 4, but we should also consider Chthon, the ancient demonic author of the Darkhold, and in the comics, the one who first cursed Wanda Maximoff with her sorcery, or figures like Nightmare, or Mephisto, whom I only bring up because it is interesting that in this movie, this voice promised you, quote, your greatest desires, implying some kind of Faustian manipulation, but maybe a sign that Marvel, rather than going the strictly Christian biblical take on this character as in the comics, might instead reintroduce him as a more non-denominational evil with forms specific to all cultures. And perhaps entities like this mega soul sucker and Dormammu and Alioth and Loki were all buffer predators kept at bay by protectors within our reality. But now that these border beasts have been slayed and the walls have been shaken, even more dangerous predators from beyond have arrived to exploit the Scarlet Witch, Peter Parker, and Loki's destabilization of reality in the MCU in order to feast on that madness. The good news is now Shang-Chi will join that fight because as Carol Danvers jets after an emergency call, maybe some threat she'll have to deal with in the Marvels, Banner jokes how he never got Danvers' number. I guess only Nick Fury has that pager access. And they tell Shang-Chi, welcome to the circus, an informal invitation to the Avengers. And Shang-Chi, Katie, and Wong celebrate by singing karaoke, including Hotel California, which was Katie's Art of Confusion song mentioned earlier in the movie. Now, the second post-credit scene catches up with Jia Ling, whom Katie and Shang-Chi believe to be dismantling the Ten Rings after the battle, but instead she takes over her father's throne and expands the Ten Rings operation. At her sides are Razor Fist and John John, who ran her Macau club. And in front of them, various aides trade paperwork, perhaps planning the epic fighting tournament we thought we might see in this film. You'll notice among these training warriors are a new group of female warriors sparring with the males, and street art covering the walls of the compound, and then the title flashes on screen, The Ten Rings Will Return. You may notice how the framing and tone here does evoke the post-credit scene of The Mandalorian Season 2, in which Boba Fett usurped the throne of Jabba the Hutt, occupied by Bib Fortuna, setting up Boba Fett's upcoming series, The Book of Boba Fett, making me wonder if the Ten Rings could appear next in a Disney Plus series in which the MCU's best warriors are matched up against each other in a grand fighting tournament. Like Wong versus Abomination could have been just a taste of it, baby. She-Hulk versus B-15, White Vision versus Red Guardian, a melee of all the Loki variants, a melee among all the Peter Parkers, and the winners face off. Finish them. Keep an eye out for my Shang-Chi Easter egg breakdown coming tomorrow on the New Rockstars channel. And you can support New Rockstars by checking out our merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com, like this awesome What If inspired design, which when you get it, you'll get the added option to write in a custom shout out that will appear on screen in our What If after shows. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at EAVoss. Follow and subscribe to New Rockstars. Thanks for watching. Bye.